My wife took the wayward maid's death harder than I had expected, further confirming my suspicions that they were indeed having a secretive love affair. She's passionate and irrational, raging all day and crying all night. Where a few months ago the cold shroud of silence lay over our house, now there is a wailing shrieks of bedlam. One should think that she would be used to dealing with the grief of lost loved ones by now. However, in all sincerity, I don't believe she was ever as affected by the death of our only son as I was. I also suspect that she might have guessed I had something to do with her lover's demise. She wouldn't talk to me before, now she yells and barks at me every movement. I hardly leave my laboratory these days. I even have a small bed down here where I sleep a few hours when I'm not working. All the while she prowls around upstairs like a hungry tiger and attacks me over futile nitpick as soon as I poke my head out. What happened to the love we shared when we married? We were going to live together in her inherited castle. We were going to have children together. No, all I get is abuse and a cold bed in the basement. All I want is for the things to go back to the way they were before all this. Naja, du hast scheinbar selber ein bisschen alles kaputt gemacht.
A dead body.
Ist das...
It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss. He's dead. And what's more, he's been murdered. But who could have done this? There must be some clues around. The missing candlestick. And it seems to be the murder weapon. There's something in his pocket.
Ein
It's a small,
Schlüssel.
delicate key. He kept it in the pocket closest to his heart. I wonder what it unlocks.
Vorhersage des Archivar der Hölle. Was man sich wünscht, ist selten, was man bekommt. Oh
The
ja.
body is still warm. He cannot have been dead for much longer than I have been alive. Did he have to die for me to live?
Gute Frage, ob er deswegen sterben musste.
The back of his head has been cracked open by a heavy blow. He couldn't have seen the attack coming. He was dead before he knew what happened. So, he trusted his assailant then? Was it me? I have no memories from my life before. Maybe it was I who killed him. But then, how was I brought back?
Ich glaube nicht, dass du die Mörderin bist.
There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? Or a clue left by the killer?
Over the curse of a sleepless night, I have thought through my next course of action from every possible angle, for it is indeed time for me to take action again. Even with the troublesome maid out of the way, I see little chance of getting my old Belladonna back. If anything, she is worse now than ever before. But I have an idea. Once it kept me awake all night. I have come very far in my research by now. I can now fairly predictably create living creatures that are stable enough to not spontaneously die again. This is consistent through many different species of animal. I have noticed something peculiar through. The returned creation seems strangely vacant and sluggish. It is as if, although the body is brought back to life, the soul is forever lost. The creation is perfectly functional and responds to stimuli just as if it was truly alive, but the mysterious spark of will seems to be missing. I know no other way to describe this phenomenon. Gott, vorlesen. Wow, ist einfach gerade nicht machbar. Nicht vernünftig zumindest. This bothered me before, but now I cannot help to think that this might suit my needs. Isn't it precisely the strong will of my wife that is causing all my problems? There is no need to be poetic with flowers this time. I am no short supply of lethal substance in the laboratory, and poison suits my needs well as it leaves no physical trauma on the body. I will still need to make incisions in the corpse to replace internal organs with clockwork parts, but stitching together surgically cuts is much simpler than trying to repair unhealed bodily damage. The integrity of her visage is a priority. To extinguish Belladonna's current life and give her a new one, to bring her body and mind back minus soul and free will. A beautiful, obedient automaton, a medical doll with all the functionality of a woman but who is responsive and does what she's told. That, my dear future reader, would truly be something. I think it is high time I tried my revivification process on a human subject. Nein, er hat echt seine Frau ermorden wollen. Er hat echt seine Frau ermorden wollen, um sie in eine Puppe zu verwandeln. Und diese Puppe sind wir.
Leupold, Brunhilde, Arthur, Maya, Lena, Ismildor, Ether and Joseph. In that order. Those are a lot of gargoyles.
Ja, okay, das ist
Leupold,
selbe Text. Okay. Sekunde, wir gehen nochmal rein. Eins nach dem anderen. Ich habe nicht damit gerechnet, dass wir echt rausgehen können. Och. Können wir uns die Uhren
It's an
schauen?
old clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Interesting, but no.
Okay. Schlüssel ist hier nicht anwendbar. Hier ist der Living Room, hier ist der Study Room.
This letter is signed Belladonna. I've been waiting to hear the other side of this story.
If you had asked me just a few years ago about my future, I could never have fathomed my life today would be as it is. So strange a path as the twist of fate set me up that I wake every morning bewildered and like a small child expect anything and everything to happen during each new day. The night my planned future snapped out of joint and took a whole new direction was the night when my son Lucas died. I married Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss in the spring, and we loved each other deeply back then. How young we were. He was an educated gentleman from the University of Ingolstadt, and I had first assumed we would get a flat in Vienna. Instead, he convinced me we should live in my family's old castle, accept our roads as old-fashioned nobility to the little village down the hill. We moved into the castle with a staff of 30 servants, beginning the task of breathing life and joy into the majestic halls. At this time I expected to live out my life as a lady of the household, minding the servants and indeed raising children. Before long our first son was born, and shortly after that he once again departed. I was devastated, of course, but Lucas had been sickly from his first day, and even though my husband had blocked out the possibility from his mind, I was not entirely surprised when it happened. Nonetheless, it changed us. I believe Wolfram blames me for what happened, that he thinks it was somehow my fault. He retreated into his laboratory in the old dungeon and started doing unholy experiments and God knows what. Those were dark times. Instead of a household and a child to take care of, I now had no guests, practically no husband and no child. Everything I thought would occupy my time was gone, and all I could do was grieve in solitude. The castle staff left one by one, until there were only a handful still here. My existence was meaningless and I spent my days doing nothing. But I dealt with my grief in my own way, and in time the claws of melancholy began loosening their grip on me. In so many years and in so many ways I have Clara to thank for that. Ah, okay, das ist jetzt hier oben die Geschichte von Belladonna und hier unten ist die andere Geschichte. Oh.
A stuffed raven atop a bust of Pallas Athena. What a cheerful decoration. Let's call them Annabelle and Dupin.
Ich hätte eher gedacht, der Rabe nimmermehr.
Look, a perfect sphere. Let's see if I can get two parallel lines to intersect.
Bookshelves?
That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless we acknowledge a maximum length of a word, there would still be an infinite number of combinations, and the library would have to be infinitely large.
Eine
I
Schreibmaschine,
should sit
Alter.
down and write a story. But with all these journals and diary pages lying around, seems like I already may have.
Naja, erstmal schauen wir uns alles an,
Look at all
bevor
these
wir
old
Bücher
toys.
schreiben.
Wind-up dolls, music boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this used to be a private hobby of the eccentric Dr. Wolfram's, before he got into the whole corpse business. Another portrait. It says her name is Franziska Canosa, an old relative, no doubt. But I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family. The doctor's handwriting. I know it well by now.
Oh, der letzte Brief vom Doktor. Months have passed and I must indeed conclude that the procedure was a success. The new Belladonna is certainly calmer, friendlier and more docile. She gladly keeps my company in the laboratory nowadays, and she's polite and pleasant in everything she does. One is tempted to describe her demeanor as lobotomized, but no. When I ask her a question, she will answer in a clear and articulated voice, and she is responsive to all kinds of stimuli. Verily, I have gotten all I could ask for. The troublesome maid is gone, and Belladonna is back with me, compliant as ever. Her behavior is exemplary. Our lives are returning to that idyllic path I had thought lost. In all aspects except one. No child giggles in these halls. But my research is proceeding rapidly, and the question presents itself: who needs a womb to create life? I have made an unexpected observation, a side effect of the unliving condition. The household cat, a black beast and once Belladonna's loving pet, has gained a great mistrust for the latter's new form. A disquiet has fallen over the animal, and he will not go near the creation. Why is this, I wonder? Why this lack of trust, the sudden and furious hatred? Belladonna's appearance seems to me not much unlike what the cat before so fondly gravitated towards. But evidently the beast perceives a difference. As a species, the cat has popularly been associated with witchcraft and mysticism. Their eyes do indeed strike one as remarkable. It is perchance so that the feline oculus is capable of peering into a human soul and spirit, and so, when faced with the created Belladonna, is distressed by the lack thereof? Die Katze hat gemerkt, irgendwas stimmte nicht.
I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed.
Oh, das ist die Katze. Die sieht schon irgendwie cool aus, ne? So ein richtig wildes Tier. Wow.
I'm not
Okay.
going near that
Okay, da kommen wir nicht hin. Nicht mal bis zur Leiter. Irgendwie müssen wir die Katze loswerden. Oh, Blut.
This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of only one maid, no matter how fantastic she is.
Ja. Eine Dienerin allein kann den
It's
Raum
snowing
nicht.
outside. I have no concept of the current year, season, or even geographical location.
Eine Bedienstete allein kann nicht ein ganzes Haus instand halten.
Another journal page. This one has drops of blood on it.
I, Belladonna, must think, remember. Hands, fingers. Write words, hate. Oh, das ist die Belladonna nach der Entwicklung. Kann das sein? Nachdem er sie zu einer Puppe verarbeitet hat, ist sie so geworden und schreibt so und spricht so.
One more Belladonna letter. Let's read about this Clara figure.
Clara Stieber was one of the servant chambermaids we hired when we moved into the castle shortly after the marriage. In the warm light of recent events, I feel as though I could pick her out of the crowd already at this time, but I suspect that the truth is that she was just another servant, one of many, and I didn't pay her close to the attention I know she deserves. The time following the death of Lucas is hazy and unclear in my memory. I know I spent most of my time in an armchair in the living room, staring out the window. I know that this must have been a difficult time for the staff as well. My apathy left them without purpose as more and more of the household was shut down. Soon the cooks and stable grooms began abandoning what they wisely identified as a sinking ship. As more and more of the staff left the castle to seek employment elsewhere, there was less and less reason for the rest to stay, and the household was quickly decimated. But throughout all of this, young Clara never left my side, and she gradually shouldered more and more of the household responsibilities, making it her task to take care of me and nurse me through my melancholy. It was her loyalty and industriousness when everyone else left that finally brought me back from my condition. Oh Gott, Englisch nicht meine Stärke. And indeed her love. As I now sit down to write, it has been a long unbroken chain of happy days. Clara and I have the whole castle practically to ourselves, and nothing to do but to enjoy our lives and each other. We sleep in a new room every night, cook our own food, and have picnics under tables or in front of the fireplace. We have no incentive whatsoever to uphold convention and norms when the house has become like a secure pocket inside the rest of reality. In truth, these touches on what I treasure most is Clara. Neither of us reap any concrete benefits from our union, neither financial nor societal. There is no embedded purpose of producing hers. Our relationship exists solely for itself and its own reward. I am already adopting her adorable habit of naming inanimate objects. The castle is not quite ours, however. Wolfram still lurks like a ghoul downstairs and occasionally emerges and spends a night up here with me. We have little in common anymore. In fact, he is like a completely new person. His mind is vacant, his stare distant. He is thinner than ever before and shivers with cold. Clara jokingly suggests that we might have him declared mad and sent off to an institution. An innocent idea in her mind, but with some planning this act might eventually prove to be also Sirus' path to finally reclaiming this old castle for us alone. Oh, die haben auch was gegen ihn geplant. Krass.